Hi, this is the Fly Fishing God. I am here to show you how to tie the Renegade. This is another wet fly that seems is quite easy to tie. Once the beginners, they normally start out with the woolly buggers. If they want to go to like this fly or this one wouldn't be too bad for them. It's not that hard. The main thing to remember is that you need like a wet fly hook, and the standard length wet fly size is 6 to 18. I have got a size 10. It's a wet fly hook. First thing I'm going to do is tie on the black thread. It calls for black thread. I'm going to tie that on. It's very easy. This does not have a tail, but it does have what they call a tag end, which means it's on the end of the hook here. And that we're going to use flat gold tinsel on that. And I have it's a mylar tinsel. And one side is gold, the other side is silver. I want to try to stick with the gold side. So we're going to cut off just a small piece of that. We're going to tie that in. Probably stick the silver side up because it's going to get wrapped around, and it'll probably, the first couple ties, it might twist on you, so then you'll have the gold side showing. So you just wrap that around like this. You tie it in like I just did. Wrap this around like this. Pretty much up to the bend of the hook. And then I'm going to wrap it back and tie it back in to secure it. Like a couple times around should be plenty. Trim that piece off. You don't need that anymore. And make sure you don't snip your thread that you're tying with. You can save that little piece for later on if you want. Next thing I'm going to do is it calls for rear hackle, a brown rear hackle. So I've got brown hackle right here. What I'm going to do is take off this fluffy end. You don't need that. I just pull it down and then cut it. That way you got a little something to tie this on with. And you want it fairly secure. Might as well wrap it up a little bit. Then we'll bring it back. And the next thing, before we wrap the hackle, before we wrap that around, we got to use some Peacock hurl. Now Peacock hurl, if you got a friend that has peacocks, this is all it is. You just take a peacock feather, like that, and you just want to strip off some of these hurls. Each piece here is called a hurl. So you want to strip off, I'm going to take about 4 of them, and then I'm going to tie that on. Okay, so that's tied on. Another thing that we need is gold wire. I have a ultra wire here. It is a BR Gold, it's called. It's a real fine wire because we want this to kind of hold in that Peacock hurl. So we don't need much of that. It's just going to be like a ribbon, and I use a different pair of scissors for the my wires. Now we're going to tie that in. Tie that right up on top, right like you did the Peacock hurl. And now I'm going to start with the Peacock hurl, and I'm going to start wrapping that. I'm going to take all 4 of them and just wrap it a couple times around. Wrap it right close. The next wrap right close to the previous wrap you just did. Bring that up towards the front. You want to leave a little space because you got a white hackle to tie in there. Now I'm going to secure this off. Just a few wraps around. 3, 4. Now I'm going to get rid of this Peacock hurl here. Once again, being careful not to cut my thread. Now I'm going to wrap the gold wire, and I'm going to wrap that opposite I did the Peacock hurl, just so it kind of locks it in a little. Not many wraps, just a couple. Now you could weight this fly if you wanted. If you wanted to put some lead in it, you could, or non-lead. You know, whatever you use for weight, you could use that under the Peacock hurl before you wrap the Peacock hurl. Okay, now that's tied in. Now I'm going to bring this thread back so that I can wrap this hackle here. Now if this hackle looks a little long to you, which with wet flies you want it a little long, if it looks a little long to you, you can trim that down. But I want a good amount of hackle in back here. Now I'm going to tie that off. That might be a little bit too long, so I'm just going to take and trim that up. You don't need to take a lot off. Now I'm going to wrap my thread forward again. Now I'm going to tie in the white hackle. Once again, you take off this fluffy end. You don't need that. Make sure you have a little tag there so that you can tie it in. And then you can start wrapping this around like so. Don't get up too close to the hook eye because you need to make a head. You need to save some room for the head. Okay, that should be enough. So now I'm just going to wrap that in. Just a couple wraps with the thread. And maybe a couple more. Just to be on the safe side. Now trim off the remainder of that hackle. Being careful not to cut your thread. Now that's all on. Pull your hackle back and start tying your head. You just keep wrapping and wrapping. But try not to get the thread up into the hook eye. And once again, I always take a, well, first I got to whip finish it. Where's my whip finisher? There we go. Pull this down. Need a little more thread. And you just wrap this around like this, around that, just 3-4 times. That's all you need. Trim this off. Now, I always take a bodkin and I stick it in the eye because I got to put some head cement on this. So I stick that in the eye, and this helps protect that hole from getting cemented. This is just so it's actually it's hard as nails, head cement, and it's just basically, it looks like nail polish, and I'd say that's basically all it is. Clear, hard as nails nail polish will work, I'm sure. You give this a couple seconds and I pull that out and the fly's ready. And take it off the vise, pull your hackle forward, and once again, if you think that's too long, you can trim that down. And make sure your back hackle's sticking up. You want your little bit of that tag to show, just for a little flash. And there's your fly. That is your Renegade. This is a Rocky Mountain. Actually, it's a Rocky Mountain pattern. It's quite popular there in the Rocky Mountains, but here in New York it might work too. I thought I'd give it a try. It's a simple fly. Very easy. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.